What is Scrum project management? In this video, I'm going to talk to you all about the wonderful world of Scrum. Like literally, I love it. What it is, where it came from, and some of the things that you can do immediately that will benefit you and your company, and some of the things you can do even if you don't have the full training or implement the full system. So if you're interested in that, please stay with us. Okay, so Scrum looks easy on paper. You got short cycles, you got quick and fast iterations, you've got a collaborative team, but how do you do it? I'm going to talk about that right now. So Scrum is a framework for managing work. It has its origin in agile project management, and it merges agile with the kanban method. And so there are people in the industry, and I think it's super great, that want to simply use the kanban method like is used in the Toyota production system and agile project management. But Scrum has turned those two concepts into a really simple, advertisable, and catchy framework that's really healthy and helpful for software development, and we use it a lot in construction and in regular project management. It's quite fantastic. And so the thing is, it's put names and meeting cycles and some style to these methodologies, and it's really the art of doing twice the work in half the time. There's some really neat books out there. There's Scrum, How to Do Twice the Work in Half the Time. Then there's Construction Scrum by Philippe Engineer, and they're both fantastic. And I want you to know that portions of Scrum and the Kanban method can be found in every aspect of our business. We have Scrum boards, our Kanban boards, all throughout our businesses and different meetings with our clients. It's just fantastic, and the methodology is great because when I did the training to become a Scrum Master, I learned more about Lean than in any other actual training, and then when I went to Japan, it really just solidified. So it was fantastic. So Scrum is fantastic. Let me go through some of the aspects of it so you know how it works. So the core idea behind Scrum is to not plan too much out ahead, but understand what your workable backlog is. Plan in shorter sprints in a collaborative manner. So I've talked about this before, and this is not how Scrum teaches it. This is how my brain processes it. But you have different roles, right? So you have the product owner, you have the Scrum Master, and you have the development team or the team, you know, if you're not in software. And the product owner is there to translate the voice of the customer to the Scrum Master. The Scrum Master should know how to lead the development team or the Scrum team. And the Scrum team is a smaller team that actually does the do. They're doing the things that deliver the product or accomplish the mission or that accomplish the project, okay? So those are the different roles. The different meetings are, you have sprint planning, you have daily meetings, then you have a sprint review and a retrospective. So one is to plan the work you're going to do in the sprint, which for me is typically a week, but it can be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. But for me, a sprint is going to be a week. So your sprint planning is where you take your work from your workable backlog into your sprint backlog, into your doing and your complete columns on your Scrum or your Kanban board. And so what you do is you plan what work is going to be done that week by the development team or the Scrum team. And then every day you huddle and you make sure that everybody has what they need. You have some fun, and you help each other accomplish those things, which is great. And you have some fun along the way. And everything's visual. It's on the board, right? And you're moving things from left to right. And when you do the actual activities, you move those stickies inside of the in progress column in one piece flow, because batching is not effective. Context switching, multitasking, those are all lies. And then you move them into the complete column. Now, what makes this remarkable is that instead of just the task in Scrum, you actually put the description or a story and a definition of done on the sticky, so it's clear what it means. And what you do is you tally points. And what you can do is say, okay, for this whole project, which has so many stickies with so many points, it's like, let's say it's 1,000 points over 100 days. I'm just making it super easy, right? And then on a graph, you say from top to bottom, I have 100 days to accomplish these 1,000 points. And that's called a burn down chart. And what you can do is you can just graph how many, as you move the stickies over, how many points you're accomplishing every day and whether or not you're on track, and you can recover. So it's really cool. So you have the roles, you have the different meetings, and you have the Scrum board. These are kind of the anchors for me. There are artifacts that Scrum talks about in a little bit different manner, but I like to talk about it this way. So just to be clear, the product owner in the roles sets the priorities. This is what we're working on. The Scrum Master protects the system and clears the road from roadblocks to make sure that every bit of the work is roadblock and constraint free. The team delivers the work, and they basically act as one team. How Scrum works from week to week is that the activities are pulled into the backlog in order of priority. When you're nearing a sprint, you'll pull those into what's called your sprint backlog, which is just the amount of work that you're going to accomplish in your next sprint. Then as the team sees that work for the sprints every day, they are moving tags or tasks or stickies from left to right if you're looking at the board in the daily stand-ups. And then the review checks what's delivered to make sure that we met the conditions of satisfaction, and then the retrospective evaluates how the team is doing and if the team is working effectively. So these are the things that Scrum gets right, and I think it gets a lot right. I'm a huge advocate for Scrum. Again, some of my mentors and people are anti-Scrum, but I'm pro-Scrum. I'm a really pro-kanban method. If you really go and understand how the Toyota production system is implemented in Japan, you'll know that actually everything's based on attack time, and then pull via the kanban method, meaning we're not pushing things and we're not in a push environment. We are pulling once a product or a process is ready using a visual kanban method. So I'm a huge advocate for it. These are some of the things that it gets right. Scrum gets right the board. The Scrum board is phenomenal. If you don't take anything else out of this, it's super easy to say, hey, these are the things we got to do. This is what we're going to do this week. This is what's in progress. This is what's done. Super visual and beautiful. The other thing it does really well is it shortens feedback loops so you can see how the team is doing every day. Third, it forces prioritization, which I love because I'll use tacked in last planner on a construction site, and then I'll put any big items, constraints or big problems or limiting factors on the Scrum board, and then the project delivery team at 8:39 in the morning for a quick stand-up will go over and look at that and see what the office team, which you should all be one team, but the office team is working on, so that it aligns with flow in the field, so it forces you to prioritize. The fourth thing that it does really well is it builds learning into this overall cadence, so the team should be getting better and more effective and trust each other more, in addition to having fun. And it makes problems show up early, so it's absolutely phenomenal for that. Is Scrum magic? No. Is it hugely effective? Yes. Are we putting our people through the training? Yes. In fact, Carol, our director of operations, just went through Scrum training. She came back beaming. It's phenomenal. I'm a trained, registered, certified Scrum Master, sorry, but I am registered too, just like your dog. Anyway, just kidding. But the point is that if you learn this, and we don't even teach it, I'm not even selling you something right now, like we don't even teach the Scrum course. We don't do that. But I would say go get that training because it's phenomenal. And if you want to lead teams, these principles are game changing. So I'm going to link you in the description below to those two books that I mentioned and the training that's available, and just encourage you to go on your own learning journey about Scrum. I hope you've enjoyed this video. On we go.